Hi, I'm Doug Cockle. I do the voice for Geralt of Rivia in the Witcher games.
How familiar were you with this franchise, the books, before this game came out?
I wasn't familiar at all with it. I had never heard of Sapkowski or The Witcher or any of it before. So I went to the audition for Geralt, and Boris from Projekt Red was running the auditions, and he just kept guiding me toward a voice, and he was telling me a little bit about the game as we were going to give me some context. So that was my first introduction, and then really was doing the game, and I had several of the writers and producers and people like that while we were recording Witcher 1. So it was through that process that I actually learned about the game.
These are pretty complex stories. How much time do you actually spend in the recording studio?
Well, it depends on the size of the game, of course. Witcher 1 was considerably less recording time than Witcher 3, for example. Witcher 3, it's over 150 hours of recording time so far.
Where do you draw inspiration from for this character?
Well, Boris suggested when I was doing the auditions that I think about Clint Eastwood. So there's a bit of that kind of feeling of it. Clint Eastwood in the Dirty, I'm going to say the wrong film or something, but Dirty Harry. You can almost hear Geralt say, "Go on, punk, make my day." So it's like that kind of feeling was what they were after. So that's, if there's an inspiration, I suppose that's it.
When it comes to the new game, what do you feel next generation graphics and processing power brings to this story?
Well, that's a question for the developers.
Well, you've seen it. What are your thoughts compared to the earlier games?
Well, I think what is it? There's a saying that every year processing power jumps 10 times or something like that. I think fans will see it in the game itself. That the graphics, the capability, the number of things that can be happening on the screen at any given time has gone up. When I was watching today, and I noticed that the horse walked through a puddle in the city, and there was still water falling off the horse's hooves for, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds after it left the puddle. And I thought, that's amazing, because even 3-4 years ago that you couldn't do that without crashing the computer. So I mean, I think you can see in just the sheer detail of the graphics that it's amazing.
What do you think it is about this character in this game that is connected with people globally?
Well, I think he's kind of an anti-hero, isn't he? He's not a good guy and he's not a bad guy, and that really is kind of like most of us. Most of us want to be the good guy, but sometimes we have to be the bad guy, and we don't even know we're doing it. I think Geralt is a bit like that. It's not necessarily that he wants to do right. I suppose that is it. He wants to do right, but that doesn't necessarily mean being good. So I think a lot of people can really relate to that. There is the whole concept that there is no evil, no greater evil, no lesser evil. There's just evil. I think that speaks to a lot of people.
How good are you at the game when you go and play?
Do you know, I have never played the game. The first one I couldn't play because I didn't have a computer powerful enough to play it. The second one I didn't have an Xbox, and just I don't know, I never got around to it, I suppose. But I think partly it's because I've spent so much time recording for the game. I kind of already know the stories, I already know what's going to happen and everything. So, the romance is out. But I have bought a console this time around so that I can play Witcher 3, and I figure I've got to play. So, yeah.
And these games are designed where there's an openness to it, so you can go and explore and do things on your own.
Absolutely, I think that's one of the real benefits to it. I used to play some of the, multiplayer online games and things like that, and that was always really, really good fun. So this, we'll have the same kind of feeling, I imagine. I'm really excited for it. I think fans are going to love it because they can go back again and again and again, and not only to make different choices and find out what this other choice, what path that leads them down, but also my son gets on games and he'll go back to a game and he'll just mess around. He'll just go in and see if he can chop trees down and see what he can do. And I think Witcher 3 is going to give fans a lot of that kind of opportunity.
Depending on how old he is, you might not want to let him play this game though until he's a little bit older, right?
No, he's turning 12 in 2 weeks, so I don't know. We'll see.
They definitely push the mature level when it comes to these games.
They do, yeah. But I think that's right. It's correct. It's something that's been missing in games for a long time, actually. I think The Witcher has pushed the boundaries in that regard, and I think it was banned in Australia, or they had to take all the sex scenes from Witcher 2 out in Australia, and some other places. And I think that's quite telling, really. You know, I mean, you know, we're all humans, and you know, sex and violence is all part of being human. So, but I suppose it's like the watershed for television. You know, you have to protect more innocent minds where you can.